Elen Silla Lumen Omentiovo. Today I'm going to be doing a movie review of The War of the Rohirrim that came out just in the last month. I'm going to break this review down into three parts. The first part just simply being a whether or not I think the movie is good. Then it'll be a overview of the plot, and then there'll be the changes that were made in the movie. So to begin with what I thought of the movie, I thought it was pretty good. All in all, it was an enjoyable movie. Um, the anime style took a while to get used to. I'm not the biggest fan of that style of animation, but once I was able to get used to that, I was able to enjoy the movie a lot. Yeah, I thought the action sequences were good. I thought the pacing of the story was pretty well done. I thought the characters were pretty well done. Um, yeah, so with my enjoyment of the movie, we'll go into the plot of the movie. So it starts off. So Hera is the daughter of Helm. Gosh, this is bad. I didn't realize it was going to be this bad. Um, so the movie starts off with just a brief overview of who Hera is and who Helm is and who Wolf is and all that. Um, Helm kills Freka, Wolf's father. Wolf plans revenge. He gets the support of the Dunlendings and some Haradrim mercenaries, and with them they attack Edoras. Helm gathers what troops he can. He's betrayed by one of his lords, and they're forced to flee from Edoras back to Helm's Deep, or the Hornburg as it was known at the time. Helm's sons, Haleth and Hama, are both killed. Helm becomes grief stricken. He's incredibly wounded, and he's kind of in a coma. And so Hera is kind of the only one in charge. She's trying to get resources for the Rohirrim to survive during the winter. You have Freyalof, who is off at Dunharrow with the rest of the Rohirrim, and the Hornburg is being laid siege upon by Wolf. And then one day, Helm wakes up, he just vanishes into thin air, and he's just killing the Dunlendings out and about on the field. Hera gets outside of the fortress at one point, and Helm rescues her, and he has his heroic last stand at the gate, upon which he's frozen to death. And Wolf builds this siege tower and finishes it and is about to attack. Hera leads kind of a one-on-one duel with Wolf to buy time for the Rohirrim to escape into the mountains. But before that, she also sent word to Freyalof what the situation was, and so he's bringing the Rohirrim, and they're coming up. Hera does beat Wolf, but he backs out of his word and he kills his general before ordering all the Dunlendings to pour into the field, and he again fights Hera, loses again. Freyalof comes up with the army. They sweep upon the Dunlendings, completely defeating them, and Hera ends up killing Wolf. And Freyalof then becomes king. Hera leaves to go adventuring in the wild. That's pretty much the basic plot of the movie. Um, and so we'll just go into the changes that the movie made to the original story, which is found in Appendix A of The Return of the King. The original story is only like I want to say it's 3, maybe 4 paragraphs long. Maybe it's longer than that, but it's very short. Um, and beat for beat, the movie does match up decently well with the story, with a few big changes, I would say. Um, so so change number 1 is the inclusion of the Haradrim. I think that seemed to be purely because they wanted Oliphants to attack Edoras. In the book, the Dunlendings aren't necessarily aided by anyone, but there is a concurrent attack from the east by the Easterlings at this time. And so, if anything, it would be Easterlings in the movie, but they chose to do Haradrim, and I think I remember hearing Variags being mentioned at one point, but I could be wrong about that. It's been like 2 weeks since I've seen the movie. And then another somewhat big change is how Haleth and Hama die. Haleth is killed defending the doors of Meduseld. That was in the book, and then in the movie, he is killed after killing an Oliphant, and he's shot in the neck by Wolf. Hama, in the movie, Hama is captured by Wolf just outside of Edoras, and he is executed at the doors of the Hornburg. Whereas in the book, Hama makes it to Helm's Deep, he makes it to the Hornburg, he's fine, and during the Lone Winter, he leads a party of soldiers out in kind of a raid, and none of them return. And then the biggest change, the change that it not necessarily changes the story, but is the one that everyone would talk about, is Hera kills Wolf instead of Freyalof killing Wolf. Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. In the movie, Hera challenges Wolf, fights him several different times, and ultimately ends up being the one killing him. Whereas in the book, Freyalof, after the winter has passed, leads a surprise attack on Edoras, and he kills Wolf in Meduseld. And so, thus liberating his people and all that. So, in the movie, kind of truncates it into everything being at the Hornburg, and then Hera, the main character, being the one to kill Wolf, which is I'm somewhat annoyed by, but I also understand the change. Because Hera is the main character, and you want your main character to be the one to do the heroic thing. One of my takeaways with Hera is that despite being the main character, she seems more like a witness, like someone who witnessed these events and is simply parlaying them to people rather than being the hero of the story, at least until the end when she kills Wolf. There's during the battle, she's not rallying the troops or anything. Like even in Helm's Deep, she's really more of just like, oh, we'll just try to get past the winter and all that. Helm has to save her multiple times. Vreelof saves her multiple times. It really isn't until the end that she becomes the quote unquote hero in the story. And so that was, that's, at least that's how I saw it. You know, other people might see it differently, but I I saw it as she's more of a witness rather than the hero, which is very different from something like Rings of Power with Galadriel and all that. Galadriel and Hera, I don't think are that similar in character, because again, Hera's not great at everything. She gets captured. The only thing that she was good at is writing, and she seemed good with animals, and then also she did beat Wolf, but there was also then a flashback in which she had beaten him as a child, so they kind of showed that she was always able to beat Wolf in particular, if not being able to beat anybody else. I don't know if that made any sense. I feel like I'm rambling here. I've never done a movie review before. I've never done a review of anything before. It's very odd. Um, but yeah, those are my main thoughts on the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. No, it doesn't get everything right, which is fine. There's nothing that has ever gotten everything right when it comes to adaptations. But in terms of the trend that Tolkien adaptations have taken in the last decade, this doesn't follow that trend. And what I'm talking about with that is the Hobbit movies they were okay. They had their moments, but they were largely viewed at the time as being not that great, which, there are moments. Then you have, what were they? The Shadow of War games, that were largely lambasted for being unfaithful and being just a mess with the lore. And then, of course, we have Rings of Power, which, even if you are a big fan of the show, I don't think you can say is a faithful adaptation of what Tolkien wrote. Because I think then you're just, I just don't think that you can see that with Rings of Power. But I don't think War of the Rohirrim is anything like that. I think it is more on par with the Lord of the Rings trilogy in terms of its faithfulness, in terms of the enjoyment. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I was cautiously optimistic when I went to go see it, and I wasn't like blown away by it, but I was really happy with how it went. Because yeah, as I said, with that recent trend, I was very much anticipating it to not be so good, but I was, hoping that it would be, and my hopes were met. And yeah, that is all that I have to say on the War of the Rohirrim movie. So, thank you all for watching. Sorry about the rambliness of this. But let me know what you guys thought of the movie down in the comments below, and feel free to like and subscribe if you like what you hear. And as the elves say, Namarie.